That's absolutely correct. This game just reviewed itself. Robocop versus The Terminator. Ed209 in the house. Wow. I'm left speechless with this one. It's a good thing this is on the Sega Genesis, because weaker game consoles would explode beneath the sheer weight of Robocop and The Terminator. They're both very heavy. Robocop and The Terminator go together like bacon and eggs, peas and carrots, beer and existence. They were made to be in the same video game together, and it has a flamethrower. Robocop with flamethrower, head exploding, can't handle weight of sheer awesomeness. But wait, it gets even better. Just enter the code to play the real version of the game, where the enemies are all hookers. But seriously, stop shooting at me. You have 1 second to comply. I'd buy that for $1, and I did, about $8 actually. But can you even put a price on this kind of enjoyment? Who knew that 1993 was so amazing? The year that this game was released. The year of Robocop versus The Terminator. One of the best games ever. As you can see, it's a side-scrolling adventure that also happens to be one of the best-looking games on the 16-bit Sega Genesis. And it's got some catchy tunes. Terminator? Why, I barely know her. How did they make all of those horrible Aliens vs. Predator movies, yet Robocop vs. Terminator has been left to obscurity? Getting beyond the obvious awesome mixture of Robocop and The Terminator, when you play this game, it feels a lot like the equally amazing Revenge of Shinobi on the Genesis. It's a very well-balanced game, everything seems to fit on the screen nicely, it's playable, and there's an excellent variety of weapons. Most importantly, it's also fun and really likable. And after you get your ass handed to you in the later levels, you'll have no problem starting the game from the beginning, because it just doesn't get boring. Now, as badass as Robocop's gun was in the movie, TJ Laser's style, it's the weakest weapon in this game by far, and you'll immediately want to upgrade to the laser rifle, flamethrower, or grenade launcher as quickly as possible. You can carry 2 weapons at the same time, and if your Robocop gets destroyed, you lose the weapon that you're using. The difficulty curve scales nicely, and the beginning of the game is extremely easy, so stock up on extra lives and pick up some weapons, because you'll need them after about this level. When the screen fills with Terminators that need to be destroyed twice, you encounter challenging end bosses like Ed209, and you'll face waves of enemies that fire on you from off the screen, so prepare in advance for a serious challenge that would be frustrating were it not this cool and enjoyable. This is what I would consider one of the later releases on the Sega Genesis from 1993, and like Vector Man, it's a piece of eye candy that showcases the power and potential of the Sega Genesis. Robocop vs. The Terminator is simply one of the best-looking, most enjoyable 2D side-scrolling games you'll ever play. Occasionally it suffers from some slowdown, but it really doesn't seem to affect the gameplay all that much. If there's any weakness at all in Robocop vs. The Terminator, it's that if you ever lose both of your weapon power-ups and revert to your stock pistol later in the game, you're pretty much screwed. If you search online, you'll find a variety of codes that you can enter, which allow you to skip ahead different levels or even mix up the gameplay like this. where some of the bad guys are in their underwear and Robocop is flammable. When hit with a Molotov cocktail, he is lit on fire that can be put out by shooting a fire hydrant and walking through the water. So what are you waiting for? This game doesn't play itself, nor does it feel pity or remorse, but it does feel awesome. It's Robocop versus the Terminator.